Perfect. So I just came from the other call, so we kicked everyone out, so they should all be coming in now. There we go. Okay, marvellous. Well, we are recording, so I think you can go ahead and start, Stephen.
Thank you, Michelle. Let me share my screen. So hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Microsoft Student Accelerator for ANZ program and the technical workshop series. And today we are going to talk about Microsoft Copilot Studio. Just a quick note that the planned subject was Copilots for app makers. But as I explained before in the previous sessions, that we may change the subjects where we see fit. So today is the case, and I'm going to talk about an introduction of Microsoft Copilot Studio. So for anyone doesn't know me yet, I am Stephen Zeng, a cloud solution architect from Microsoft. And today's agenda is that I'm going to talk about Power Platform overview because Copilot Studio is part of Power Platform. And then I'll go through some of the key capabilities of Copilot Studio with some demos. And we will talk about some of the advanced features, and then we will go into a Q&A. Depends on how much time we have left. So first of all, you may have already heard of Power Platform or even use it. So Power Platform is the world's most complete low-code development platform powered by AI. And it has a set of products, including Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, Copilot Studio, and Power BI. You can use Power Apps to build web and mobile apps, and use Power Automate to build flows for automation. And you can use Power Pages to build external-facing websites. And the Copilot Studio, you can use it to build and extend Copilots, which we will be covering today. And the Power BI, you can use it to build reports. And there are some key components in Power Platform as well. For example, connectors. That's where you can easily integrate with other systems in Power Platform. For example, you can use a connector called Outlook to send or receive emails in your flow. And AI Builder is a local way in Power Platform that you can access some of the AI features, services from Azure, but in a local way. And Microsoft Dataverse is a data platform, local data platform in Power Platform. And so today we're going to cover the Copilots, but you may have already heard of the concept or the term Copilot, or even you have used it. So in Microsoft, there are quite a few Copilots already, including GitHub Copilot, which you can use to assist your programming, and Copilot for Microsoft 365, which is a fantastic personal productivity tool that you can use to, for example, build to create documents, PPT, etc. And there are other copilots, for example, in Power Platform, there are copilots to assist you to build apps, flows, etc., but in a conversational way. So you can kind of just tell the copilots what you want, and it'll try to work it out for you. And now we have this Copilot Studio, which you can, not only build your own copilots, but also extend all these copilots, what we call it, first-party copilots, which are, built, released, and supported by Microsoft. So what is Microsoft Copilot Studio? Microsoft Copilot Studio was called Power Platform Virtual Agent in Power Platform, but it's more than that now. It has a lot of AI capabilities added now, and it's renamed to Copilot Studio. And it's basically a end-to-end conversational AI platform with generative AI and large language models. You can use Copilot Studio to build your own copilots or extend the first-party Microsoft copilots. So I'm going to do a quick demo that how you can build a copilot with a website URL quickly. So first of all, I'll go to Copilot Studio. So please remember this URL, copilotstudio.microsoft.com. So that's where you can access Copilot Studio to build your copilots. So once it's loaded, you can see in this environment, I already have a few copilots created. So let's create a new one. I'll call it MSA Demo Copilot. And here you can see there is an option for you to provide a website. And so I'll use a website, just the Microsoft one. And we will do some, we will ask some questions about some of the information from Microsoft.com. So now it's creating the Copilot with that website URL I just provided. So as you can see from here, it is still provision this Copilot, and now it's actually ready to use. So I can actually start asking questions already. For example, let's say, what laptops does Microsoft produce? And let's see if my Copilot is able to answer the question. Actually, it just did. It told me that Microsoft produces a range of laptops under the Surface brand, and it actually gave me the citation as well. So if I click that link, it redirected me to this website. And let's ask a few more questions. For example, let's say I am a software, I am a programmer, let's just say. Please recommend a laptop for me. So as you can see, I actually intentionally typed a typo there, but still is able to understand my question, right? So actually, it gave me some suggestions. For example, when choosing a laptop for programming, there are several features to consider, and it gave me the references as well, which is pretty cool. So let's try something else. Let's just say, please suggest a laptop for a limited budget. Which is very cool, right? So it actually gave me options, a few options, right? So for example, under 500, under 1,000, etc. And also it gave me the references. If I click that, it should tell me more details about that. So as you can see, this is a Copilot I have already built with just a few clicks in Copilot Studio. So now back to the slides, and so we have seen quite, I would say, amazing capabilities from Copilot Studio already with just a few clicks, right? Within a few minutes. There are some key concepts we need to understand. The first one is topic. What is topic? A topic is a conversation thread or path. And typically, a conversation thread or a topic has a set of trigger phrases. So that's, you define a set of trigger phrases for a particular topic, so that when the user types any of the keywords that can match any of the trigger phrases, the topic will be triggered. And then under the topic, you can add conversation nodes, which is a lot of options for you to build the functionalities, and I will show you in a sec as well. So when you create a Copilot in Copilot Studio, there are some out-of-box topics for you already, including the default topics, custom topics, and the system topics. So let's jump into the website and have a look. So this is the MSA.demo Copilot I just created, right? So let's have a look at the topics. As you can see, we have a few topics created for me. I didn't create any topic. It's actually out of box. So for example, goodbye, greeting, and the 3 lessons. These are the 3 lesson ones are sample topics for studying purpose, right? So you can disable them, or when you create it, there is an option for you to turn it off. And there are other topics as start over, thank you, etc. And there are some system ones, for example, conversation start. And the trigger is different, right? The trigger is on conversation start. It's not phrase anymore. If you look at the topics from here, the trigger is phrases, right? But in the system one is triggered by something else. And for example, conversational boosting, etc. And we can create a topic by simply click from here. We can create a topic from blank. And let's just say order status. I'll create a topic around order status, right? And so I'll provide a few phrases here. As I mentioned before, this is where you define the phrases that how you want your particular topic triggered. And so I'll add a few. So for example, has my order shipped and check order status. And where is my package? Track my order and order status, etc. Right. So there's a question: does Copilot suggest phrases to add to topic? Well, actually, there is a generative AI feature which I will show you later. And so this is how you can manually create a topic, right? And so I have just defined a few phrases. And so now, as you can see, there is a plus icon here, which I can click to add a node. So this is called a conversation node. So I'll simply say that, this is just for testing or demo purpose. I wanted to, when anyone, types anything and triggers this topic, I just wanted to send a message saying, hello, I can help you with your order. And then I'll add another node to end the conversation, right? So this is a very, very simple topic. What it does is simply, when the topic is triggered, it simply replies a message and then ends the conversation. So I have just saved it, and let's do a quick test, see how it goes. And I'll refresh or reset the test Copilot topic conversation. And here there is a icon. You can turn it on to track the conversation path. And so let's do that. I have defined 5 phrases, but I can ask anything, similar. I don't have to ask a word by word that I define in phrases, right? I can actually ask anything similar, and it should be able to, it should be smart enough to figure out my intent and trigger this topic. Let's just say, where is my order? So as you can see, there is no such phrase defined there. But let's see if it's able to trick my topic. Okay, all of the topic matched. So that the reason is that, as I mentioned before, it created a few sample topics. And this is actually very important. When you create topics, please, do a bit of a design first. Make sure you don't have the similar trigger phrases defined for different topics that it may actually trigger multiple ones. So in this case, I'll disable the 3 lessons one. Okay, so that's disabled, and let's try again. And make sure the tracking is turned on. Yep. Where is my order? Let's ask the question again. As you can see now, my topic order status that I just created now is triggered. And he actually simply replied me the message I defined and then ends the conversation. So this is how you can create a topic. Obviously, there are a lot more you can do within topic, but that's where you can start, right? And I will obviously in this session I will cover more. But let's get back to the slides, and I can see. I'll just actually take a pause to see if there is any question from the audience. If no, let's have a look. I can see someone is typing. So I'll just wait for a few seconds.
Did you answer that first one? Does Copilot suggest phrases to add topics?
Yes, I actually answered, but I'll do again. So in Copilot Studio, what I just demoed you is manually creating a topic from blank. And you can create a topic with the help of the Copilot in Copilot Studio, which you can describe what you want and it'll create the whole topic for you. And then you can start editing, updating, or changing the topic. Okay, so let's go to the next topic or next section, entity. So entity is also a very important concept to understand in Copilot Studio. Entity is so a big part of conversations in Microsoft Copilot Studio is natural language understanding, which is the ability for the AI to understand a user's intent, right? So entity is for that purpose. And so there are a few entities. There are pre-built entities and custom entities, and which I'll show you in a sec. There are a bunch of pre-built entities when you create a Copilot, and if there are any entities that you need extra, you can create your own customer entity. And for a customer type entity, you can create two types. One is a closed list entity, and the other one is a regular express type entity. So I can see there is a question in the chat. Theoretically, it seems like you would use topics to answer common questions from clients if you were a business entity. Curious if that would actually be the case. Yes, that's right. So, for example, let's for a particular business, for customer support, right? The first thing would be asking what the what the customer wants to what sort of things, what sort of support the customer wants to get, right? So then from your Copilot, when you build your Copilot, you can define different topics. So for example, order related, account related, or any products related, right? Then you can define what to do within those topics, and that's where you can organize how you want to build or implement your Copilot with topics. So there is another question. My first class here, and I'm excited to start learning. And are these triggers and examples on Power Platform a graphical version of if statements for handling user. Yeah, definitely. And I will show you later as well. How you can implement those logics within a topic. So as I mentioned, I just explained what entity is, and let's do a quick demo how we can create entity. So if we go to entities, so as you can see, there are a bunch of entities created for you. So those are pre-built ones. For example, age, Boolean, city, color, etc. And let's create a new one. And as you can see, two types, a closed list or a regular express one. So closed list is just you define a list of a list of items within an entity, and regular expression is that you can define a pattern. Typically, like for example, credit card, right? And so for this for the first example, let's create a closed list one. So let's just say um, um, what is the let's just say the entity name is the order action, right? So I'll add a few items called update, check, and cancel. Okay, and also as you can see, smart matching is turned on by default, and that'll actually use the natural language understanding to smartly match the user input. So when user types anything similar, it'll try and match that as well. So now the entity is saved, and then we can use the entity in the topic. So let's go back to the topic I just created, order status, right? So I'll ask the user a question as Ryan, you just asked, what we can do more in the topic, and besides adding a message, I can add a question, ask a question. So that's a condition. That's a let's undo that. So that's a misclick. Sorry about that. So let's ask a question. So what can I do for you? And in the identifier, I will select the entity I just created, order action. And then I'll select the options I just added, all the items I defined for that entity. And then I'll save that. And then let's do a quick test. I'll simply say, check my order to trigger this topic. It seems not triggering. Let's refresh, reset, and then refresh. Just make sure the Copilot is updated. So I'll refresh the page. Sometimes you need to do this, and even sometimes you need to wait for a bit to let it work. Sometimes it takes a bit time. And let's try again. So I'll say, okay, so as you can see, that's the conversation start. Let's go to the order status. And let's trigger the topic again, order status. So now it's triggered. It responded me with the message and asking the question, what can I do for you? So I'll simply say check. So as a user, I can choose from the option and the conversation ended. So that's a really, really simple simple demo, right? So really, really simple entity, but you get an idea what you can do. And let's go back to the slide and the next to cover the next key concept, which is the variable. And so the variable is just like if you have done any programming language, you understand you would understand the concept of variables. Basically, it's just a place for you to save and then reuse some of the values. And in this in Copilot Studio, it's the same. You can use it to save, for example, the user responses or some content exception. So a variable in Copilot Studio, there are different levels or scopes as well. For example, topic level, which means the variable is only available within that same topic. Or there is a global variable that any other topics is able to access the variable value as well. And there are system variables as well. And so variable as it's a place for you to store values. So there are different types of values you can store. For example, a text or number, etc. And so let's have a quick look how we can use variables in Copilot Studio. So in the order status, as you can see, I just added a question, and which in the question, I provided the options to the user. And so here there is this step, save user response as. So if I click this one, and this is actually saved to a variable, and I can change the the name of the variable. For example, I'll save it to order action. So I can see, Ryan, your comments, loving how this incorporates high-level programming abstraction, but easy to use graphic interface. Yes, that's exactly what Power Platform intends to do, right? So it provides you a layer of abstraction, so that you don't have to have that deep technical knowledge or programming language, but you can still use Power Platform to build digital solutions, including like applications, or in this case, a Copilot. So back to this demo, I'll save the user response to a variable called order action. Now, so that has been changed. I can also add a step by clicking the plus icon, and there is a group called variable management, and you can actually add a node specifically for setting a variable value, pass value, or clear all variables. So in this step, you can not only set a variable, but also you can if you, for example, receive a string or text type value from somewhere, you can actually pass to, for example, to a date time type variable as well. So now let's have a look how we can use the variable. Now in this step, as you can see, the user response is saved to a variable called order action. Now let's send a message to the user. Let's just say, sure, I can. All right, I'll choose click this icon to insert the variable that I just defined called order action. I can eat for you. So just make sure there is only one space before it, okay? That looks like 2 space. Now I'll save that. Okay, now it's saved, and let's reset the test topic, Copilot, and let's try again. Let's just say order status to check this topic. And then now it's asking me what do I want to do. So I'll create check. Sure, I can check it for you. Unfortunately, there is no space, and I can easily edit that one. So, but just you get the idea how you can use the variable, and so uh, in Copilot Studio, you can also integrate with cloud flows. And in the previous slide, one of the previous slides, I talked about from the Power Platform overview perspective, right? There is one product called Power Automate, and that's where you can create cloud flows. You can create other types of flows as well. Cloud flow is one of them, and in the cloud flow, you can do many things, many wonderful things. For example, you can create a cloud flow that automatically triggered when a new email arrives in a certain email box. And then in the flow, you can implement in the way that, for example, to download any attachments in the email and then save the attachments to a place, for example, a SharePoint location, or a OneDrive location, etc. Right, or you can send emails or send a Teams message, so it can do a lot of amazing things automatically. And now with Copilot Studio, you can also integrate with the Cloud Flow. For example, you can call a Cloudflow to get some details for a particular order. For example, in the topic, you may ask the user to provide the order number, and then with that order number, you can call the flow to retrieve the details of the order and then reply that back to the user. Or you can, yeah, in the Copilot Studio, you can call a cloud flow to, let's say, to submit an order request or do some actions, like book a ticket, etc. Right. So with the integration with Cloudflow, you can do many more things. So let's do a quick demo. So again, back to this topic, let's just say, again, in this after this this message, let's just say I can add conditions here. Like for example, I can add a condition to check if the response is check. What I can do, and I can add a condition to check if it is a cancel. For example, but just conscious about time, I'll just create a very simple one to just say call a cloud flow. What you can do is there is a call and action group, and you can actually, there are a few options for you and to call a flow. If there is no any flows already, you can create a flow, and it'll redirect you to Power Automate. So now it's loading the flow editor and it has loaded, right? So I will actually, as I mentioned, let's just say pretend this is a canceled order. So I will ask, I will need the order number, right? So I just say define a input called order number. And then, in the actual implementation, you may add a step to check the orders or call an API to another system, for example, your order management system, to cancel the order, or whatever else you need to do. For this demo purpose, I'll just pretend that step has been done, and now I'll send a email confirmation. So I can simply use the connector called the Office 365 Outlook connector. So this is a out of box connector that you can use, as I mentioned in the previous slides. That's one of the out of box connections from like more than 1,000 ones. So there are a lot of options there. So for this one, you can simply choose. There's one called send an email, right? So I'll send it to myself just for demo purpose. So this is my my name, and let's just say subject, your order has been canceled. And you can type whatever you want. You can also add the order number here, the dynamic value, which is provided from the caller of the flow. And just for demo purpose, I'll just put it. That's it, and I'll save that. So the idea is that once I've done that, and when the user clicks the the cancel, let's just say the cancel option, and the Copilot will ask the user to provide the order number, right? So okay, so before that. So there is a question, do you know if it's possible to create flows that can link with the M365 admin centers to some watch centralized? Yes, absolutely can. As long as there are APIs, then you can do it. That's the beauty of Power Platform connectors and Power Automate. And so back to this one, I'll edit this one to only user to change to this one, and I'll save that. So once it's saved, I'll switch back to the Copilot, and I should be able to see the flow I have just created. So let's call the action. Okay, one thing I forgot to do is the name. The default name is run a flow from Copilot. That's actually I forgot to rename it. So let's give it a name that's more meaningful. So to change the name, I'll just say, let's say MSA, since I already have a such flow with the same name, so I'll add a prefix of MSA demo. Let's just say cancel order flow. Okay. And I'll save that. So once it's saved, I'll come back to the Copilot, and I'll have to refresh in order to be able to see the changes. So now again, in this order status topic, I will add an action to call the flow I just created. So that's the one MSA demo cancel order flow, right? And as you remember, I actually the flow requires an input of the order number. So let's ask the user to provide the order number. To do that, let's add a question before this step. And the question is that, okay, what is the order number? Right, so, and then the identifier should be the user's entire response. And I'll save the response as in the variable called order number. Okay. And now in this action to call the flow, I can choose that order number I just defined. So this will, this will get the order number provided by the user and send it to the flow. And so back to the flow, let's have a look. So there is this respond to Copilot, right? So I can also add a output, for example, a message. You say order has been canceled. You can also attach the order number provided from the input. So for demo purpose, I'll just save, and I should be able to, display this message to the user in the Copilot. Now it's saved, right? So I'll save this. This topic has been saved, and then I will refresh the page to load the latest changes. Now it's loaded. Let's have a look at the action again. As you can see, there is now one output called message, and I will save that to a new variable. Let's say so. I'll give it a name called just say message. Okay. So now the output from the flow should be stored in the variable called message, and I'll show that message to the user by adding a new node called message, and I'll simply insert the variable message, and I'll save the changes. So now the topic has been saved, and let's do a test. Let's just say order status. So now it's asking me the choices, right? So I'll choose cancel. Again, I didn't implement the logic of the condition check here, but you can easily to do that. And so now it's asking me what's the order number. So, okay, I'll provide the order number is P, let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. And now, yes, yeah, the flow has been called and the message has been responded. So let's have a look at my email box. I should receive an email that sent from that flow as a confirmation that my order has been canceled. So that is the email, and you can see the order number is the one I just provided. Right. So this is a very, very simple example how you can integrate with a Power Automate Cloud Flow. And this actually will expand a lot of capabilities for you to do other things, especially integrated with other systems. So now let's have a look at other things. And again, just conscious about time, I'll just quickly go through some of the functionalities next. So first of all, what is generative AI? Generative AI is a type of AI that creates human readable content, for example, text, images, or music, based on the user conversational input. And at the moment, there are some common ones, GPT, that's text-based, and Dolly, that's for creating images, and the Llama from Meta. And also in generative AI, in Copilot Studio, there are a few places for generative AI. So let me quickly show you. So first of all, if you remember, when I first created this Copilot, I only provided a website, and it's able to answer any questions that about Microsoft, right? And so that's the generative AI in the background working for us. And so in the website you provided, and it's actually, so if we go to generative AI, there is this option called boost conversational coverage with generative answers. So once you provide a website here, this option will be turned on for you. And you can add up to 4 websites here. You can also upload documents here. It supports a lot of types, a lot of formats, including Word, PDF, Excel, etc. And as long as each file is no larger than 3 megabytes. Right. So once it's provided, and how it works is that in the topics, there is a system one called conversational boosting. In the conversational boosting, there is this one called create generative answers. And this actually where you can define the data sources. And as you can see, that's the website I provided, right? So, and the trigger is interesting, right? The trigger is on unknown intent. What it means is that if you don't have any topics defined, or there's no any topics are triggered for the user input, it'll trigger this conversational boosting topic system topic for you, as long as that option, conversational boosting option, is enabled, right? And what it does in this topic is that it uses create generative answers to try to search or answer the question based on the data source I provided. And in this case, I provided the website. I can provide other things like, for example, SharePoints, which requires authentication. I can provide Azure OpenAI services integrated, or I can provide a JSON data in JSON format. For example, I can integrate a core flow to get some JSON data from an API, and then with that JSON data, I can actually provide it here in the create generative answers to answer that. So there is a question, how do you create and manage the user interface that users would be interacting with when deploying these flows for use by any users? So if you're talking about the Copilot, I will show you in a bit. It's really easy to do. If you are talking about the flows, then yes, there are. You can manage your flows in Power Apps Maker portal or Power Automate Maker portal, which I won't cover in this topic. But again, if you are interested, please have a look, or watch the previous sessions recordings which we we covered the Power Platform solutions and how you can use solutions to build apps, etc. Right, and also the next session will be about Power Automate. So please do join us if you're interested in knowing more. So this is the generative AI in Copilot Studio, how you can use it. And also there is another one that called when you create a topic, right? So someone already asked that question. So what I did is create it from blank, but you can also create from description with Copilot, and here you can simply give it a name and then type the description what you want to do. For example, let a user check the status of a flight, accepting flight number and date, etc. And then it'll actually create the whole topic with the implementation based on your description, and that's actually powered by Copilot or generative AI in Copilot Studio. Unfortunately, due to the time limit, I won't demo you this, but you can try it yourself. And so that's the generative AI features in Copilot Studio. And also how you can release your Copilot. So let's quickly have a look. How we can publish the Copilot. For example, I can, as you have already seen, I can easily test or interact with my Copilot in the test Copilot panel. But when it comes to, release or publish my Copilot, it's really easy to do as well. So first of all, go to Publish and click the Publish button. Once the is published, it'll be able to show you the channels that you want it to be released to. So first of all, the publish action makes your Copilot available for other channels. And then once it's published, you can go to channels from here, the link, or if you go to settings on the left side, there is this channels menu. And as you can see, there are many options for you to publish to. And right now, only 2 are enabled. The reason is that in the authentication under security, by default, it's authenticated with Microsoft. And if you choose authentication manually and provide the configurations here, all other channels will become available. So now back to this this demo, I can publish this Copilot to Microsoft Teams. And once I turn it on, and then I will be able to actually simply go to the Teams and enable my Copilot, and I can start using the Copilot in Teams. And you can share the Copilot with your colleagues, with your team members, and they will be able to interact with your Copilot in Teams as well. So really, really straightforward. So there are other features, more advanced features, for example, actions, extend Microsoft Copilot. As I mentioned before, another feature of Copilot Studio is that you can extend the first-party Copilots from Microsoft. For example, Microsoft 365 Copilot, etc. And so those are more advanced features, and that right now they are still in public preview, so things may change. And you can also configure customer engagement hub. For example, if the Copilot is unable to help the customer eventually, and if you have a customer engagement hub configured, then it'll actually escalate to a live agent, so a human being can help the customer. So this is the, let's have a look at the diagram again, from the higher level perspective. On the first level, you can see there are Copilots for Microsoft 365, those were, and Sales Copilot and a Copilot for Power Platform. So those are first-party Copilots from Microsoft, right? And you can build your own Copilots and or extend the Copilots. And so it's all powered by Microsoft Copilot Studio. And this is a very user-friendly abstraction on top of a bunch of Azure services, including Port Framework, AI Studio, etc. So you don't have to have that kind of level understanding of how to build how to use the Azure AI service in Azure Studio. Then you can simply use Microsoft Copilot Studio to build a Copilot, and with the UI out of box for you as well. So where to start? First of all, you can sign up for a Microsoft Copilot Studio trial by going to this URL. And I will paste the URL in the chat as well. And so there is this quick start. That's really good that for you to get hands-on, by following the steps to create your first Copilot. And this is where you can start building your Copilots in Microsoft Copilot Studio. And I'll copy the URL and paste it in the chats. Okay. Okay, I'll take a pause here and see if there are any questions. Please feel free to come off mute or type your questions in chat. Also, the next session on 7th during the same time, we will be talking about build a Power Automate Cloud Flow. As I mentioned before, you can, as I demoed before, you can call a Power Automate Cloud Flow from a Copilot to do many more things, especially in integration with other systems. And if you wish to understand more about Power Automate Cloud Flow, please do join us next. So there's a question, how many Copilot capabilities are available with other Microsoft licenses, such as Microsoft Business Premium? I assume it's quite limited compared to having an actual Copilot license. Yes, you do need to have a Copilot Studio license to be able to build your own Copilots, right? But in your case, as I mentioned before, which I pasted in the chat, you can sign up for a Copilot Studio trial, and you will be able to build the Copilot as you want for study purpose. Okay, cool. I'll take a pause to see if there are any other questions from the audience. Are there any specific projects you recommend that we work on with Copilot and the Power Platform until next month? I would suggest have a look the previous videos on Michelle's YouTube channel, and or have a look the Power Platform, knowledge in Microsoft Learn and to have a understanding from the Power Platform overview perspective, and then sign up the Microsoft Copilot Studio trial license and follow the links. That's just one link for you to get started, right? There are other links for you to follow as well once you get into that website, and then try to follow those tutorials and to build some copilots and try to yourself. And then if you want, have a look at some of the Power Platform automate materials and get some basic idea, understanding, and get prepared for the next session. And that would be something I would suggest to start. Thank you, Austin. And yeah, you're welcome. And I look forward to seeing you next session as well. Okay, cool. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. And I'll hand it over to Michelle.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I will definitely remember to post this one up by end of day. Poor Stephen had to remind me last month because I had saved the video with and I had forgotten to put it up. But I definitely will remember today. So yes, as Stephen said, you can follow these on, I've created a whole playlist for this series that Stephen is running with. And otherwise, I will see you all next month in the monthly, next month in this Power Platform Series 1, or if you are going to Canberra, if you live in Canberra, we have an in-person meetup that you can join. So you will see some Canberra Microsofties if you go into the office. Otherwise, great to see you all, and thanks for joining today. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.